One of the easiest ways to freshen up a space is to make some throw pillows. So I have these great faux leather throw pillows, a whole set of them that I'm going to show you how to make. One of the things I love about throw pillows is you can incorporate different textures to add a lot of interest to your space. And so that's what we've done here with the faux leather and even some embroidery details. And of course, some quilting cotton that you probably have in your stash. So let me show you how we made these. Set these aside for a minute. And so if you want to make this whole set that I've designed, you're going to need 1.25 yards of black, 1.25 yards of white, and then just 1/4 yard of this stripe. I loved the detail that it added. You'll also want to pick up 2 packages of this Sally Tomato faux leather, some pearl cotton, and some embroidery needles. And of course, if you don't want to make all of them, you won't need quite so many things. You can just choose which ones fit your space, but this will make all 4 of the pillows that you see behind me. So let's go ahead and get started. To begin, we're just going to make this faux leather front, and it is cut at 18 inches square. So open up your roll, cut it to 18 inches, and then we're gonna flip it over. And you can see I've started marking this up, but this is what you're gonna do. You're gonna draw a center line in both directions, and then we are going to measure down along the line, and we're gonna make a little dot every inch, just like so. And then from there, we can take our ruler, and I just put it on the 1/4 inch mark. The little dot that I made is lined up with that. And then it's 1/4 inch out from the line that we drew. And then I'm going to put a dot top and bottom of that. So you can see here. And then again on the other side. So this 1/4 inch mark is on the line that I drew. This one is lined up with the intersecting dot, and then we're making a dot at the top and the bottom. Because all of this is on the inside, you don't have to worry about what marking tool you're using. You're never going to see it. And so then now I'm just going to take my ruler and connect those 2 dots, and we'll make that X, and we'll do the same thing in the other direction. And so this is really the most time-consuming part of this pillow, because you want to take your time and get all of these marks right. So I'm just going to hurry up here and finish these, and I'll meet you back here when it's all done. Okay, so now that we have all of our X's marked out, I've gone ahead and threaded my embroidery needle. And if you have not worked with this faux leather before, it sews through like butter. It is so easy to work with. And so you're going to go ahead and knot the end of your thread, and I'm going to start here at this top corner from the back and pull this through. And then we're going to, you can kind of like feel with your finger and see, make sure you guys can see this. I'm just going to gently glide my needle along the right side until I get to where that point is. And then I can push this through just like so. Then I'll come up and come out of this top X. And then same thing, and come back in on that bottom side. So the whole point is this is supposed to look hand stitched. You're adding that hand stitching detail, and it gives you this beautiful X on the outside. If you wanted to double up your thread to make it a little bit thicker, you absolutely could. You could even use yarn if you have that. So don't be afraid to play with it. And then from here, you can just continue down. And so we'll come down to the next X. Poke this out, watch and feel the needle. It just makes a little rumple on that faux leather. Poke that through, and we'll work our way all the way down, just like so. Perfect. And then to knot this off, I just went back to one of these little loops that I have close by and just pulled this through like so. And then ran my needle I just kind of held it tight, and then we'll knot it again, just to make sure it's good and secure. So just stick that under there. There we go. Now it's knotted, and we can trim this thread. Perfect. You can see how those X's are starting to come together. They look so nice, and you'll just continue this down the center in both directions. But let's go ahead and talk about how we finish this. These are all finished basically in the same style, but for this size, you are going to cut 2 rectangles that measure 18 by 14. And then all I did was turn under a 1/2 inch twice and top stitch. And so I've gone ahead and done that to both of these. And so then to finish this, we're just gonna set these right sides together. Of course, all this stitching would be done. And then we put the right sides facing one another and just overlap. When you're working with the faux leather, it's a really good idea to use the Wonder clips so you're not pinning through it. And so then I would just clip all the way around and finish this off with a 1/4 inch seam. So it's as easy as that. And then you've got this great throw pillow that's all done. So let's move on to the next one. All right, so this next pillow is even easier than the first one, if you can believe it. And so I have cut an 18 inch by 9 1/4 strip of our faux leather, and then also a piece of black. And so we're making this pillow right here. All we're going to do is put these right sides together. And so 1 straight seam to make our pillow front. Let's go ahead and do that so you can see how beautifully this faux leather sews. Get this ready to go here. Just line those up. I am using white thread just so you guys can see, but of course I would probably use black at home. Just keep it all lined up. It's looking good. Beautiful. All right. You can see how easy that was to stitch, and then you can just come and finger press this back or use a pressing cloth to roll away. Of course, you don't want to press directly on the faux leather, but that is as easy as it is to make this pillow. And then you finish it off on the back with the exact same way of the first one I showed you, but I used black fabric for this one. So this front is ready to go. So now let's make these cute striped ones that you see here. Go ahead and set this one aside. So for the 3-stripe version that you see, I went ahead and I cut strips of my yardage. So I have a 2.5 inch stripe, a 2.5 inch black, and a 2 inch white strip. So I sewed it all together into a strip set, and now we can cut these down into the size that we need. So let's move this out of the way. There we go. I'm going to go ahead and trim off the selvage on this first end here. There's that. And so we need to come over 12 inches. Whoops. Get that thread out of the way. There's our first cut. And then we can slide this down. So now let's line this up again, and we'll come over 12 inches again for that second cut. All right. And so you could save this for something else or another pillow, whatever you want to do. And then we're going to grab our faux leather. And so this gets cut at 5 inches by 12. And so then to finish this off, you're just going to attach your strips to both sides, and you can kind of play with it and decide whether you like the black in or the white in. I think both options are cute. I opted to put the white against mine just for some contrast. And so then we're just gonna sew those together. I have one that I've started here because I'm gonna save part of these step outs for the next one. But you can see I've got one I've already sewn, and so let's go ahead and take this to the machine and we'll add this one to it. So if you get worried about the faux leather at all, of course, use those Wonder Clips anytime you feel like you need to so that they don't slip. But I have found that it is just really easy to sew with. And so I am just going to take a few stitches to get started, make sure it's anchored, and then I'll just keep everything lined up and sew all the way down. All right. So now the front of our cute little striped pillow is all ready to go. I absolutely love this one. I love the little black and white stripe added in here. It just gives it a real pop, I think. And so then to finish this, it's basically the exact same way as the square, just slightly different measurements. And so these measure 12 inches by 13 inches that we just fold under a 1/2 inch twice. And so same thing, we're just gonna line these up so the right sides are facing. So this fold side is up towards me and the finished side is going down towards the pillow. And we're gonna line up those edges. Oops, shifted on me there. And then overlap in the middle and sew all the way around. And so that is how you finish the rectangles. I do have one more version of this where you take your 5 inch by 12 inch leather piece, and then as opposed to making a strip set, you can just add a solid piece of fabric on each side. So these ones should measure 6, they do, so 6 by 12, and we'll just set that on either side, sew that to the center, and that gives you this little one right here. Super easy. I just love how this whole set comes together with the different black and whites and the texture, the added stitching on here. I think it comes together really cute, and it's super fast to make these and freshen up your space. So I hope you enjoyed this tutorial, and I'll see you next time on At Home. Hey everyone, thank you so much for watching At Home. We're so excited to be almost 1 million quilters strong here at Missouri Star. And so if you haven't already joined our family, be sure to subscribe and hit that notification bell so you can be notified of all of our future tutorials, and we'll see you soon.